Good morning. Welcome to my corner of the world wide web. My name is Fats, and I haven't filmed a vlog for a minute. We haven't hung out for a while, and I'm excited to today because I've read something that is off the charts amazing. Oh my goodness, it's so good. But first, before we even get into books, before we even start our day, coffee? I have some books to tell you about. Goodness, I have some. Hold on. Okay. I finished some things. I have some thoughts. First, I did finish Cursed Bread this week. Now, I'm reading Cursed Bread by Sophie Mackintosh. I'm reading this as part of my next little installation in exploring literary fiction, exploring weird literary books. This one was small. I thought I could bust it out right quick. And it plays on this story of a town that goes into mass hysteria. It plays on this piece of history where what they believe is a bad batch of bread sent an entire town into mass hysteria. And I thought this book would sit in that event, the actual hysteria of the town, the craziness of that town. That actual moment of mass madness doesn't hit until the last 15% of the book. It's good when it comes, don't get me wrong. There's a line, hold on, let me see if I can give you a piece of it. Okay, here is a piece of that crazy scene, and this is page 171 of a 185 page book, so you truly don't get it for a while. 3 houses away, the mayor was being eaten by snakes. He could hear his own voice unbearable in his head, shouting for help as the serpents writhed in his stomach, eating their way out. But he was just whimpering and nobody could hear, not even his wife, who was turning on the taps to see fire dripping out. She wanted curiously, switched them on full. Sweat beaded against the mayor's bald head, his red shirt torn open, and his hands frantic, dragging at his skin, nails leaving long marks. He wanted to pull the snakes out, tried to put his hand down his own throat, but could not get far enough to reach them. So he tried to vomit them out, got onto all fours and tried his hand again, bucking his body. His wife was hypnotized by then, trailing her hands in the cold flyer, overflowing to the floor where it set everything alight painlessly. She remembered dimly how an errant shell had destroyed the old church, and then she was back there, waiting for the fire to subside, picking, wailing through the stubble to find the dead, searching for days. That is just a small scene of the craziness. You don't get it until the end. This is really a story of obsession. It's a story of lust, yearning, want, need, desire, lack thereof. It's a story of a baker's wife who comes to bed every night into a loveless, sexless home. Her husband is instead obsessed with bread, baking, his trade. That's what he comes into every day. Now the story itself continues, and the baker's wife falls into this obsessive desire of an ambassador and his wife. So the ambassador and his wife come to town. The baker's wife is obsessed with them. But she's obsessed with them in like, she desperately wants to sleep with the ambassador. But in order for her to obsess over that need, she imagines herself as the ambassador's wife. She imagines herself as this woman. And it becomes this all-encompassing, delirious envy, in a sense, which was written well. But then the story kind of goes into like a prank where the husband and wife, the ambassador and the wife, kind of trick the baker into thinking that she's going to hook up with the ambassador, but he never shows up. And then the ambassador's wife is like, haha, we got you, you silly little fool. And then there's a moment where the ambassador like dirty talks the baker's wife at her place of work. The women of the town have these moments of gossip and trade of word, which was kind of interesting. I just really wanted this book to get crazy. I do love stories of devotion. I do love stories of wanting, and I do love stories of unrequited love. By the way, the baker who didn't want to sleep with his wife anymore, yeah, he got the grocer's wife pregnant and he was planning to run away with her. That was the whole plan. The form of this book is written partially in letters. The baker's wife escaped this mass hysteria, right? I'm barely explaining what's happening in this book, but anyways, the baker's wife had escaped the mass hysteria that you get in the last 15 pages. And she's writing these letters to the ambassador's wife, the one that she's obsessed with. And it's reflecting on a lot of her feelings in the moment of these other crazier things building and happening. So she's writing these letters, you're getting checks to the present day, you're getting checks to the past, you're seeing this build up, you're getting the gossip, you're seeing all of these things happening, and you're hearing it from that POV of the baker's wife. I thought this could have been weirder, if I'm going to be honest. A story of a town falling into mass hysteria. This could have gotten crazy. It didn't quite. The other book I want to tell you about. So, I finished this a few days ago. I'm not going to tell you what the book is until I read you this love confession. A kiss will not make our differences go away, Jace. It won't. I'm not expecting our differences to disappear, he hissed. I'm asking you to be honest about one thing. Would you stop thinking about tomorrow or 1,000 days from now? In this moment, what do you want, damn it? I looked at him, unable to speak. My heart slammed wildly. Pivot, steady, blink, fast. My rules tumbled into a free fall. I felt him pulling away again, and I gave his belt a harsh tug, drawing him to a standstill. My gaze locked onto his, and everything inside me split in different directions. Yes, I want to kiss you, Jace Ballinger. Not for show or to make the best of it. I want to kiss you because I want you. Every part of you. Even the parts that infuriate me beyond telling. Because you've infected me with the poison that I don't want to flush out. Because you're a mad viper twisting around my middle, cutting off my breath. Yet I want you more than I want to breathe. Yes, Jace, I want to kiss you. Just because I do. But the one thing I cannot do is promise you any tomorrows. Dancing with Thieves by Mary Pearson. Check 2. You have Kazi. Kazi and her little team of guards, the Queen's guards. They're sent on a mission to find a bad man. They hear that the bad guy is hanging out in a different land. This land is ran by the Ballinger Empire. The Ballingers are this ragtag group of people who have claimed land as far as their eye can see on these rough borders, and they just rule their area by their own rules. The Queen technically she runs all of this. So she's like, go over there, the Ballingers are over there, I'm not sure what's happening. Somebody infiltrate their stronghold in order to get the guy that we're looking for, right? Now, when they go over there, Kazi, she grew up as a thief. Back in her day, they used to call her 10 because when she lived as a thief child in town, if you got caught stealing, they would cut off a finger. So you always knew who a thief was because they were missing fingers. She made it out of years of childhood depravity with all 10 of her fingers. So everybody referred to her as 10. She is now one of the Queen's guards. She and Jace Ballinger, the new patriarch of the Ballinger tribe, get into a scuffle. Mid-scuffle, hit upside the head, they're taken by slavers. Chained at the ankle, bodies about to be sold on the streets, right? They escape. Then Jace and Kazi, they have to trek across deserts, wilderness, fight animals, fight for their lives in order to just make it to civilization. All while chained at the ankles. Now when I tell you, this gave me the only one bed trope, but these two, they're getting into their vulnerabilities. They're telling stories, they're telling tales, they're getting to know each other, they're dancing around each other. There's kissing and gentle petting. The way the book ends, of course, Kazi and her people catch the bad guy. Her and Jace butt heads a little bit. They think they've betrayed each other. Whatever, I don't care. The love confession. There's a happily ever after, right? Her and Jace, they're kissing, they're happy. The Queen, she's like, Kazi, I think that the Ballingers need one of my personal guards there just to make sure everything's in check. And then Jace is like, Queen, I don't know if I know how to follow the rules. I definitely need somebody to keep me in check. It's cute. It's amazing. Oh. And it's like, something about this gives me that, young adult nostalgia. Do you know what I'm saying? There is a 2000s young adult vibe that was hitting hard in the early 2000s. Hitting hard. And this gave me that. It did it for me. It really did it for me. That love confession. Did you hear her? She said, I want to kiss you now, but I can't promise you tomorrow's. Let me tell you, that's love. Not knowing how much of a future you have, but wanting to just give you all that I can today. Let somebody talk to me like that. I'll settle down. I'll get off the streets. Ugh. not to get ahead of myself, but this is going perfectly. And I can tell this is gonna be scary. I've got a feeling. So anyways, I'm 45 pages in. I took a nap. I've read a little bit. The vibes are Hey baby, did you wake up from your nap? Hi. Okay, can I get back to my video? I gotta talk to the people. Okay, so anyways, you open up with Eve. You open up with Eve, and Eve is home alone waiting for her partner Charlie. Now, Eve is kind of this people pleaser, soft-spoken woman. Charlie is the stronger one of the two, and Charlie's at the grocery store. Eve is home alone, like I just said. A family of a husband, wife, 2 teenage sons, and then like a 6-year-old daughter come to the door, and he's like, hey, I used to live here and I desperately want to show my family around. Eve pulls that thing where she's like, I don't know if my partner would want me to, but the little 6-year-old girl is so cute, and Eve is like 15 minutes tops. And so the family goes around. The husband's a little weird. He's like, oh, there used to be a chandelier here of 24 pairs of deer antlers that my dad caught. And he's like, can we go into the basement? It's just kind of odd. As Eve finally gets that family to go, the little girl is gone. And the father's like, dang. She has this crazy habit of wanting to play spur of the moment hide and seek. Silly girl. And they're like now going around the home to find the little girl who's playing hide and seek. And you know what the dad says? He's like, wow, looks like she found her way into the basement. So crazy. And the scene I just got to, so like Eve is looking around for the daughter. The dad's like, if you find her, just grab her. And she goes down into the basement, and at the end of this hallway, the dad's standing stock still. She calls his name like 3 times, and he like jumps, and he's like, oh shoot, sorry, you snuck up on me. And she's like, you know, I said your name several times. And he's like, oh, silly me, I've got bad hearing. He's staring down into this tiny little passageway that seems to be one of those things that is a lapse in how the home is built. And he's like, she's down there. And Eve says, well, doesn't seem safe. Maybe we should get her out. And the dad says, no, we'll just leave her. And she'll come out eventually, whatever. And Eve again is like, maybe I could fit in there, maybe I could get in. And the dad says, no, don't go in there. You're going to have to drag her screaming and fighting. She's not going to want that. She'll come out when we pretend like we don't care. Let's go. The dad goes, the daughter's name is Jenny. The dad is like, Jenny. And she doesn't answer. And he goes, and then it's quiet. And then they hear a very soft and very gentle, burn the house down. I don't care if that daughter's burn this house down. What do you mean you're playing hide and seek in a basement? Oh my gosh, I will burn this business to the ground. What the cuss? What? The cuss. I don't care. This house is weird. This house is old. And you know another thing? The reason Eve and her partner, right? Eve and Charlie, they buy homes, flip them, resell them. Their last flip didn't go the best. So they got this one, and it was a steal. Anybody who's seen any horror movie ever, if a home is cheap, and it don't make no sense, don't buy it. Because what do you mean this was a steal? What do you mean steal? What do you mean this was one of the best things? And you know another thing? Due to a fire, they don't have all of the blueprints for this house. So the blueprints that show them how this house is built, even Charlie, they flip it, but they don't have them, and which they need to do their job. And what do you mean you don't have the blueprints? I don't know what this house is built like? Huh. I'm on page 45. This isn't a long book either. It's 304 pages. And I am shocked and appalled. My skin is crawling. It is written in just the right spooky kind of way. Let's see. There was a damp dullness in the silence, as if the shadows had swallowed his words before they even made it halfway. Jenny, this is that scene where he's calling to see if she's down there. Thomas repeated, suppressing the slightest hint of worry. Still no response. A tendon in his neck twitched. He tugged at his collar, nervous. Then he clucked his tongue as if to say, right. Slowly he raised his arm, and then a flick of the wrist, he knocked that pattern into a nearby pipe. Dun, dun, da, da, da. A long stretch of silence crept by, and then from somewhere beyond the end of the passage, two faint knocks echoed in response. Knuckles against concrete. There she is, said Thomas, rising to his feet. Let's head back up. He walked off, but Eve lingered, staring into the claustrophobic opening, the unwelcome void. Shouldn't he be a little more concerned? Eve. She turned to meet his gaze. He was standing a few yards away, flashlight raised. You coming? Yeah. She took one last glance into the dark passage, then trudged after him. As they wound their way out of the cellar, she couldn't shake how off everything felt. Sure, she was no parenting expert, but didn't this type of behavior warrant a firmer response? At the very least, some kind of ultimatum. If you don't come out in the next 3 minutes, we're going to take away your Pokemon cards. Or whatever it was the kids played with these days. Tepidly, Eve brought up her concerns, but again, Thomas insisted that giving Jenny space was now the only route to go. Eve relented. Honestly, she was just glad to get out of the basement. They rounded on to the rickety stairs. As they ascended for the first time in a while, Eve didn't feel the juvenile sensation that something was following her. She didn't feel the urge to run. Though as they stepped out of the basement and into the living room, she couldn't help but look over her shoulder, down the narrow staircase, only to confirm what she already knew. Nothing was there. It's written. I am scared. It's broad daylight. I'm spooked. This is a daytime read, and I don't know what it is. Like, it didn't say anything scary, but the little details. There's even moments where there are ants. There are ants just crawling and going into cracks, and she's like looking for this girl. She's looking underneath things, and she's like, oh, the ants are stumbling over themselves, writhing and crawling into this crack as quickly as possible. I've never been so afraid of ants before in my life, but it's the way that there's small moments where there's intense attention to detail. And there's also this thing where it says our character Eve, she's the one that notices these things. She has these moments where she just zooms in and focuses in on things. I'm scared. I need some time outdoors. He just got a bath, but whatever. Having a dog is just, I feel like an ongoing battle of him just being dirty, especially a white dog. Let me show you the best part of our new apartment.